Hey guys, it's time to play Mega Man 2! I'm gonna skip the intro because I don't want a lot of people putting in the Brindlefloss lyrics to it. Come on, be original for once. I'm not gonna go in a normal pattern. This time, I'm actually gonna go in a pattern where I get all the items first. Starting with Heat Man because he gives you item number 1. No, I don't need item number 2. The only thing I would have liked to have had here is the Crash Bombs. Just so I can get through those little areas that you'll see later on. It's the only weapon I would have liked here. Heat Man's design was probably the least creative design in the Robot Masters for Mega Man 2. I know he's supposed to look like a lighter, but he always looked more like a jack-in-the-box. If you know me very well, you know that Mega Man 2 is the first game I have for the... Well, it's the first Mega Man game I've ever played. It's the only Mega Man game I actually own for the NES. I actually have Mega Man 2 for the Game Boy, but it also has some enemies from Mega Man 3 as well. I guess I do wish I would have had item number 3 for that, but I didn't really need it. This is where I would have liked to have had the Crash Bombs, just so I can get through some of these areas a little bit faster. Because they could be quite annoying. Man, those enemies are probably one of the most annoying enemies in this game. They're spinning heads that come right at you. I know they only take one hit, but they can just float around in midair. It's just... Ugh. Those guys you can only kill with the bubble head, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm going to try and do this part with just... Aw, shit. Well, at least I didn't die, so... Back to the first part. Yeah, I'm not going to use item number 2, because it's too easy. In fact, for this run, I'm not even going to use my weapons against the bosses. At least not until we get to Wily's castle. I want to show exactly how you can beat them without their weakness. Sometimes it's really hard, like Quick Man, and sometimes it's really easy, like Flash Man, Wood Man, Air Man. Who else is easy? Bubble Man. Oh, and especially Crash Man. You know what? Everybody's easy except for Quick Man. He's the most difficult of them all. The only reason I'm gonna try and kill this guy is just so I can hope I can get some health back. Well, so far so good. I've taken some damage, but Heat Man's pattern isn't exactly that hard to get through. Look at that. Jumping animation, his foot goes through the floor. I can barely resist doing that myself. Heat Man himself isn't exactly that hard. You just have to know when he's coming. Sometimes he'll catch you off guard and he'll come really fast. It's, whoa. Like, ah! And when he hits you with that, it does do a lot of damage. Oh man, it's almost worth getting hit by what he shoots out. Those little fire flame, those little firewall things, just so you don't take as much damage from his attack. See? Not that hard. You don't need the bubble lead. You don't need the bubble lead. It just helps make it go by faster, that's all. First boss down. 7 more to go. H. Get equipped with Atomic Fire. You think they would have named them all after the certain letter, but... like Heat Blast or something, I don't know. But Atomic Fire? Sometimes I get that confused when I'm going to my weapons. It's like Airman, or I want to get my Atomic Blast. I'm like, oh, hey, that's it, and it's Airman. It's like, ah, shoot. You know, over 20 years I'm playing this game, and I can still get that confused. I wish they would have made it where it would have fit the letter H. Oh, that means it's the Heat Blast. Okay, Airman, it's time to go up against Airman because he holds item number 2. You know, I do know about the song, I Can't Defeat Airman. I do kind of like it, but in a way, if I sing it, it becomes incredibly insulting to me. It's like, I can beat Airman, why am I singing this? I don't know about you guys, but when I was little, I always thought you could just try and shoot those flashing dots in the forehead of those giant platforms. It looks like that's what they're there for, that you can shoot them. Otherwise, why would they have it? 'Cause, you know, anything that flashes is supposed to be the weak spot. At least that's what video games tell you anyway. Yeah, this part's pretty basic. Just get on some clouds and shoot, shoot, shoot. Really not that difficult, as long as you just don't get hit and you get your jumps just right. The birds. Do hate the birds. But as long as I can kill the eggs, I don't care. Get over that little part with all those... What the heck are those things called? Okay, more of these guys. At the end of Mega Man 2, it does give off the names of, well, the enemies in the game. At least the ones that appeared in the Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy. Not the ones that appeared in this one, but for that one they do appear, they do tell you the names, and I don't remember what they are. Yeah, sorry about that. It's weird, you know that guy, sometimes he just disappears somehow. I know I'm not the only one who notices that sometimes, but sometimes if you just leave the screen, that Airman ripoff just disappears and then he automatically reappears. Man, he appears out of... No, I'm not gonna say it. Oh hey, I didn't jump through that door! There's a first time for everything! I actually find Airman to be easier without the leaf shield, as long as you can just get over his attacks. To say you can beat this guy without taking a hit? No, that's physically impossible. You might be able to pull it off once, especially if you don't use the leaf shield. But to say you can do it all the time is just a pack of lies. You're gonna get hit. It's a random attack. You can't always predict it, and sometimes you have no choice but to take it. Unless you can pull off some kind of glitch where you can pause, and when he comes back down, it goes right through him. Which I actually discovered you can do that when you're fighting against those wall shooters in Wily's castle, but Okay, this time we got item number 2 completed. It's get your weapons ready. Item number 2 is that jet that you just get on it and it shoots you forward. That's what everybody uses to get through Heatman's level with those disappearing blocks. Good thing I didn't need that. Now for item number 3, which is being held by Flashman. Normally I go after Flashman first just because he's the easiest. I mean, I personally think he's the easiest. Besides Crashman. I mean, his stage is the easiest. His pattern is the easiest. You don't really need anything for this level. You can it's the perfect level to start out on. I don't understand the slippery ice blocks, but at least the blocks, they flash, so it kind of fits the name Flashman. Yes, I like flashing lights too, but it isn't functional, is it? Huh? There's a painfully suffering Doom Shadow show reference for you right there. I still love that Flash cartoon. It's probably one of my favorite. Yeah, it's probably my favorite Flash animation of all. Not of all time, but so far it's my favorite. Definitely check it out, both parts. I've noticed that if you jump a lot against those guys, they won't shoot. They'll jump after you, but if you just keep jumping, they won't shoot you. Which actually kind of makes them very predictable. Now, I guess I could use item number 2 and go through here, but I want to do the jumps. Only because it haunted me when I was a kid. Most of this game I really couldn't do on my own. I couldn't beat this game as a kid. There were just so many parts to it I just sucked at because I was a kid. And video games like this were new back then. Oh jeez, okay. That kind of caught me off guard, so I am going to use an item right here because I don't want to take any damage. Normally I get to the end of it and I jump off and then I jump on to the other platform and go through the door. That didn't happen this time. Slippery ice blocks got in my way. Hey, I didn't jump again. You know, it's kind of hard not to jump through that door if you play this game a lot. Yeah, that's Flashman's special ability, is just to stop time. I don't know why he's called Flashman. Maybe Time Man would have been a better name, but they used Time Man for Mega Man Powered Up, which would probably be one of the only reasons I would ever get a PSP. But, nah, there's just not enough games that I would get for it. And don't hate me for that. I've already got enough games to keep me occupied on my DS. Plus, I want to save up for the 3DS. Oh yeah, and they're also going to be putting Mega Man 2 in the, it's a Nintendo collection for the 3DS. It has Mega Man 2, Castlevania, I think it has Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. I think it has Zelda and Kirby, probably Metroid. I don't remember how many games are on it, but after I saw Mega Man 2, I just want it. You know, why not add another game that I already own a billion times to my collection? Why not? It'll be in 3D! Hopefully it works for Mega Man 2, because they're not going to improve the graphics. They're just going to take it and maybe put a few things in 3D. Oh boy, Quick Man. This stage I kind of like, but only in the sense that it's... I don't know if I like it, but it's one of the most memorable stages. It's the one that haunts you, especially if you grew up with this game. Because it's those one-hit and you're dead lasers that make the stage just haunt your childhood. And if you mess up, you're dead. But if you can just get the pattern right, it's fine. It's weird because on the Anniversary Collection, I can't do it that well. But on the Virtual Console, I can do it without a problem. Most of the time, as long as I don't overthink it. You know, most of the time I don't even think about what I'm doing when I'm playing a game. I don't think about what button I'm pushing. It's like, how do you push? It's like, how do you do that? Or how do you play this? I'm like, I don't know, I don't look at the controls! But yeah, usually it was that part right before that always killed me. It sometimes can give me a trouble even today, but the rest of this isn't even... There is this problem, you can pretty much do blindfolded. No, I'm not going to do it blindfolded because that's suicide. But yeah, most of this is pretty easy, except this part right here is just unbelievable. No matter what, you have to get hit. You will get hit, so that depends on how you want to take this. You can either take a lot of damage, or you can be smart and take a little bit of damage. Watch, I'm going to have him shoot me, just so I can get through him without taking a lot of damage. It's almost impossible to get through without taking a hit, so you might as well just take the least amount. Because trust me, going up against Quick Man and not using Time Stopper, or not using the Crash Bombs, which I've never used against him. I always use the Time Stopper. In fact, I didn't even know you could use the Crash Bombs against him. But I'd rather use the Time Stopper. If you don't use his weaknesses, he is one of the most challenging bosses because his pattern is just so unpredictable. Oh, good. I was worried I was actually going to die this time. But yeah, I definitely consider him the most challenging boss in this game. Of the Robot Masters, anyway. Q. Get equipped with Quick Boomerang. Now, sadly, I don't have enough time to get through all of Bubble Man's stage, so I'm going to leave that for next time. I'm going to have to speed it up a little bit, but I'm going to take down the rest of the Robot Masters.